The following BLTV program is brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Please enjoy.
Welcome to Learn About Law. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law, and today we're going to explain how remarriage of either parent impacts child support obligations in Illinois. The short answer is that it does not, but we'll kind of go into some of the principles of how that works. So first, let's talk about how child support is calculated in Illinois. Child support in Illinois follows the income shares model that's used in many other states, and this has been in place since 2017. And basically, according to the income shares model, the court will determine a total amount of child support that the parents together are collectively responsible for the care of their child. And then responsibility for paying for that amount is apportioned between the parents based on their incomes relative to one another. So if you are the child support obligor, the person paying child support, the more you make relative to the other person, the more you're likely to pay in child support. If you're the recipient, if you have a high income relative to the obligor, you're going to receive less in child support. And that's different from the way it was prior to 2017, where the child support amount was just based on the income of the obligor and had nothing to do with the income of the recipient. In shared parenting situations in which the parents have the child each parent has the child for at least 146 overnights per year, then the amount of time spent with the child is also a factor in calculating child support. So this means that the more time you spend with the child in a shared parenting situation, the less you're likely to pay in child support if you're the obligor. So a lot of people have asked, what happens if one of the spouses gets remarried? So let's first talk about what happens if the parent paying child support gets remarried. The common issue is if they marry someone with a high income, is that income going to be factored into the child support calculation? The answer is no. So if the person paying child support marries a high earner or anybody at all, that person's income is not factored in when determining child support because the new spouse has no legal obligation to support the child. So the new spouse can choose to not devote any of his or her income to the support of the child. On the flip side, the expenses associated with the remarriage, like additional dependents if the new spouse has children, so increasing the size of the household, are not a factor in child support calculations either because, as we explained earlier, child support is based on the income of the parties, but the living expenses of either party is not a factor in determining child support calculations. So the remarriage won't increase or decrease the amount of child support that the obligor has to pay. And the same principles apply if the child support recipient gets married. A lot of people assume that if the recipient gets married to a high earner, then the obligor will have to pay less in child support. But that's not the case. The new spouse's income has no impact on child support because the new spouse has no legal obligation to use that income to support the child. And similarly, just like we talked about, new expenses associated with the marriage don't increase child support because expenses are not a factor. Now, one thing that is another layer of complexity to this, I mean, so far it's pretty simple. Remarriage doesn't impact child support. It will remain that simple, but another question people often have is, does remarriage impact parental resources for the purpose of awarding child support for college education? So let's go into this a little bit. Child support is automatically required in Illinois until the child turns 18 or graduates from high school. After that, the court has discretion to award child support for post-high school education, whether that be a college or a trade school or what have you. But the court doesn't automatically have to do this. And one of the key factors in determining whether the court is going to award child support for post-high school education is the resources of each parent, whether they can afford to pay for that. So the issue is, if one of the parents is married to a high-earning spouse, does this impact their parental resources for determining whether to award post-high school child support at all? And for the same reason we discussed, no legal obligation to use that money to support the child, the income of a new spouse will not impact the calculation of parental resources for the purpose of determining whether to award child support for high school or post-high school education. One last thing to note is that an exception to all of this is if a new spouse adopts the child. So if we terminate the parental rights of the obligor as part of the adoption process and the recipient's new spouse adopts the child as his or her own, then in that case, because parental rights have been terminated, the child support obligation is terminated as well, and the biological parent will have no obligation to financially support the child. So if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments section below this post at learn-about-law.com or below the video on our YouTube station. If you need some help, give us a call at 630-324-6666. That's 630-324-6666. We offer free consultations, and we have offices all around Chicagoland for your convenience. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, and SoundCloud, and leave us reviews. That helps us, and you'll also be notified if you subscribe of our daily article and video topics. We post daily on various areas of law, and you'll be informed of what the topics are. Thank you so much for watching and listening.
Thanks so much for watching our video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Click the subscribe button for new videos every week, and download and review us on iTunes. Visit learn-about-law.com for other legal-related articles and videos. Visit our business podcast and video blog, seizeyourbusiness.com, and visit Making Real Estate Fun for real estate videos and podcasts. Call us at 630-324-6666 for a free consultation.